Hamilton Olympic and the Edgeworth Eagles, they've been heading in different directions before their round 6 clash tonight, and they'll both be looking for only one result tonight. Just quickly, the team news for the visitors, the Edgeworth Eagles. Damien Zane, he makes just one change from the Eagles side, who thumped Western last weekend, and it's a forced one. Aaron McLaughlin, he's out with a hamstring injury, and Liam Spurway makes his first start of the season. Jamie Burns faces up against one of his former clubs. He played here at Olympic in 2015. And for Hamilton Olympic, coach Peter McGuinness, he also makes just one change to the side beaten 2-1 by the Jets here last week. Midfielder Jared Sutherland makes way for Blake Green, who will slot into left back. The weather tonight, 20 degrees. The wind behind Edgeworth in this first half. And the referee tonight is Glenn Peterkin. So it's been a strong rivalry between these two sides over the last few years. They played in the 2015 Grand Final. But there's been a lot of change about both clubs. And we get underway in the second match in round 6 of the NPL Northern New South Wales. And quickly Hamilton Olympic push forward and win a free kick. And quickly, boys, there's just 9 of the 22 players who took the field in the last meeting between these two sides. Do you think that's going to affect the rivalry at all?
No, I don't think so, Bart. I think the rivalry is what it is. Clubs build on it, and they love it. They thrive on it, and we've just seen just some early intent from Hamilton Olympic. But no, I don't think it does take anything away. They want to beat each other, and they're playing for the colours they're in.
Well, we'll get to the formations in just a second. Reese Pappas, he scored a stunning free kick here a few weeks ago, and well saved by Cavalier. He did well, but maybe slipping under him there for a moment.
Yeah, it looked like Cavalier. He's seen it late, so it was great save by Cavalier.
So Olympic will remain on the attack for the moment. Cody Lucas plays it in towards Pappas, and well taken by Cavalieri for a first touch. Boys, just tell me, how are these two sides shaping up this evening?
Well, we're looking at Hamilton Olympic looking to play a 4-4-2 with Edgeworth playing a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-2-1-3. Depends how they shape and the progression of the park. But that's how they're officially shaped up. We'll keep a check on that as we go, Smudge.
Olympic just quickly finds some space down the left edge, but well cut out. They push forward here. No press from Olympic for the time being. Here's Corley looking long and over to Will Barrett. Will beat him over the sideline.
Yeah, I noticed early, Ben, that Olympics just dropped off a little bit when Edgeworth's got the ball. So obviously they're sitting a little bit deeper. It looks like they're going to play a quick transition game for my liking. I know it's early days and lots going to happen yet, but looks like they're just sitting off a little bit, waiting to compact the space when necessary and look for a quick transition.
So Will Bauer with the throw he scored last week, his first of the season in that 4-1 win over Western. So Edgeworth in some good form. They've won their last 3. Hamilton Olympic, they haven't had a good run of it of late. They've lost last week to the Jets and a draw the previous week to Valentine, so winless in 2. As you expect, a few free kicks early on. So it's Tyson Jackson over this one. Whips it in towards the back post. Tyler Warren with the punch away. They fall here for long range strike, and then Josh Evans with a shot there. A rare strike from the centre back.
Yeah, boys, talking to Pete McGuinness prior to the game, he's been a little bit frustrated over the last few weeks. He said they've conceded silly goals, sloppy goals, which were very easy defendable if they showed a bit more desperation. So they'll be looking to get keep their defence nice and tight today and look to probably play a bit more counter-attacking football. And as you can see now, Hamilton just dropping back to the halfway line, compacting the space like they've done there, and Mooney's away.
So here they come, breaking forward pretty swiftly here at Hamilton Olympic, but the pass just going astray there from Reese Pappas.
And that's what I was saying, but just their quick transition. That's what they haven't been doing in the past few weeks, and that's been hurting them. So they're waiting for the play to break down and then quick transition into attack. And that was well set up by Olympic.
In terms of their positions on the table, Hamilton Olympic, the home side this evening, they sit in 9th place. Just one win from 4 matches. It almost falls there for Bazari, who gives away the free kick. Edgeworth, they sit 3rd, 10 points. As I mentioned, 3 straight wins. What has been the issue for Hamilton Olympic this season, CT? Can you put your finger on why they have struggled?
Look, I can't put my finger on it, but I'll tell you a couple of plays they really enjoy having in the side is Bertos on the ball and Mooney. Simon Mooney back into this side, for me, creates a lot of attacking options. So he's sitting kind of right up in the point of things as we look at him. But you know, the combination of those two, which did very well a couple of years ago, you know, I enjoy, you know, watching that combination as it goes. Mooney will be looking to get a lot of ball from his middle of the park, in particular from McGuinness and Pappas as well. So you know, let's not forget about Pettit.
Well, McGuinness just absolutely got cleaned up there, and he did not appreciate the treatment he received from Don Bazari, giving him a shove. It was a strong coming together.
The other change I like here, Bart, is Blake Green going on the left-hand side and Cody Lucas come on his more familiar role as right fullback. He's been playing left fullback, and sometimes a right fullback playing left fullback is not accustomed to the way or balance in the way they defend, and you know, sometimes can be a little bit out of sorts. So the back four looking a bit more balanced for Olympic for me.
There was Blake Green with a touch, and then he charges off down the far side. Dobson had to get across and do some defensive work. I'm interested to know, Blake Green last year at Lake Macquarie was playing primarily in the midfield. What's the reason behind the switch back?
Look, it depends on how you're going to use your defensive back line. You call them right or left fullbacks, but for me, you know, they can be your best attacking weapons if you can get them into the game, and he's good at that. Blake Green is particularly good at getting into the game, so you know, the reason for that is to get him into the game and utilise his ability to get forward, get the balls in the box. But not only that, he's good at sliding balls into the front men through the middle, 1-2s. So he's got good all round game smudge.
Totally agree, CT. But also you got Pappas, you got McGuinness, and you got Cooper in the centre of the park. So you know, they're formidable players. So I think it's a good balance for the side.
He doesn't lack confidence either, Blake Green. 5 goals last year for Lake Macquarie in a side that finished middle of the table. They punched above their weight last year. So a fairly frantic start to this second match in round 6. The match earlier this afternoon, Maitland got a 1-0 victory courtesy of an Alex Reid goal in the last 5 minutes against the Jets youth, who have been plucky this year, but just not quite good enough to claim a point from that trip to Maitland.
There's always, Smudge, a lot of adjustment that's got to be made when you've got an Olympic playing a 4-4-2 and an Edgeworth playing a 4-2-3-1.
Here could be an opportunity for Hamilton Olympic. It was Bertos making some space down the left.
And how they balance off, you know, they've got to adjust to that. So we're talking about left and right fullbacks getting into the game, but you know, that's all well and good. But you know, when you've got a midfield of McGuinness, Pappas, you know, Bertos and Pettit, and then they're going to charge that off against a Wheeler, Bazari and Corley, who are going to stay more central. Really opens it up.
There is Reece Cooper. He gets scythed down by Pat Wheeler. Scored a superb goal from that position last time we were here, Smudge. That was a lovely chip, wasn't it? Neat and smart and everything that Reece Cooper is in this competition. And
the other thing with Reece Cooper, it's good to see McGuinness is playing him more forward. In that game a few weeks ago, he was playing as a number 6, as more of a deep role. Wasn't getting on the ball as much, but as you know, he's a great attacking player and can score goals, and I think it's great that McGuinness has moved him forward. Playing as like a striker, but sort of dropping as a number 10 tonight.
So it's Pappas standing over the free kick again. Caused some issues before. Deflection! And somehow, I should say, Scott Pettit with that free kick has somehow scrambled off the line. It is scrambled over the line, and Hamilton Olympic have an early lead. Maybe Leo Bertos after all of that? that may have scrambled it across the line. His second goal in a week. Looks as though he's in a bit of trouble as well.
Yeah, it just looked a bit sloppy, didn't it, around the 6-yard box. Unsure exactly what happened, but you know what? Olympic's been slightly better than Edgeworth in the opening minutes and probably deserved the lead. For me, Edgy's just turned the ball over a bit too easy at the moment. And Olympic's been first to the ball. They're showing a bit more desperation than Edgeworth in these early moments. CT?
Yeah, agree, Smudge. Totally agree. And we're just waiting for the kickoff again. I think that's Bertos down on the ground.
He has scrambled it across the line, Leo Bertos, so 2 goals in a week for him. He scored the lone goal last week in the defeat to the Jets youth.
Boys, just quickly while we're waiting for the kickoff, I just want to take the opportunity to thank Josh Maguire from Western, paying me the obvious comment, letting me know that I've got a head for radio. Thanks, Josh. True story.
You certainly have, CT.
He's hit it spot on. There's no dispute.
Yeah, but you've heard that a few times before, mate.
Yeah,
it's not the first time.
I know, it's all good.
Now here's Simon Mooney. And that's an important goal for Hamilton Olympic. Because, of course, last time they were here against Valentine, they conceded the opening goal, as they did in round 1 against Charlestown. So it's good for them here to be playing from in front, and we'll see how that changes their reaction and performance in this first half. So Leo Bertos has recovered. He swivels infield to Reese Cooper, who was 2-time there by Wheeler and Bauer. And Wheeler plays it into Will Bauer, who goes down in the box. Peterkin has a decision to make, and he points to the corner flag.
Oh, a little bit lucky there. Looked like a little bit of a nudge in the back, didn't it, from this angle, but hard to see. We haven't got a replay to have a look at, but
I'll have a quick scan. I've got the stream up on the phone, so we'll see what you guys think after this corner kick. Here's Adam Corley into the back of Cody Lucas. What's the verdict, boys? Penalty or no penalty?
Look, we only got one glance on the phone screen, but from the pair of us, we both made that.
Here it is, whipped in. Tyler Warren with the punch. May fall again here for Jackson, who whips it in again. Jamie Burns is sneaking around there at the near post. He's high on confidence. He scored twice last week.
First glance, there was a claim for a penalty, and I believe it's justified. Reaction from Smudge echoed same.
So Edgeworth unlucky there as Tom Davies pumps one long. Josh Evans, gee, was knocked off balance there by Simon Mooney. But that's what Simon Mooney adds. A little bit of grunt up front.
He's a great addition for Olympic. He's been out a fair bit of the pre-season injured, so missed quite a few games. But great to have him back. And I know when he came on against Valentine 2 weeks ago, he made the difference up front.
A little bit of pinball in the box. Jamie Burns tried to swivel, and Jamie Burns is going to give away the free kick. It's a late sliding challenge on Cody Lucas.
The other thing is just looking, obviously Olympic playing a 4-4-2, but when they defend, Reese Cooper actually drops into a number 10 role. So just playing the one up front and virtually 9 behind the ball. So it's very compacted, especially on this small pitch. I think Edgeworth definitely need to use their width and play a lot of wide balls.
There's Kyle Hodges, and Olympic, since the goal, I was just about to say, they're just struggling to keep a hold of possession.
But it's also sparked Edgeworth in the gear a little bit. They're showing a bit more desperation and intent at the moment.
And they'll be stung by that early goal. Here is Scott Pettit, yet to score in Olympic colours. So he goes down into the corner flag. Four matches, no goals for the former Magic man. So it will be Pettit again over this free kick. He's caused some issues tonight from the dead ball situation. He's got Bertos, Pappas and Reese Cooper in there as well. Simon Mooney making the run. He whips it towards the near post, and Nate Cavalieri is easily able to deal with that threat. Here's Cody Lucas. Gee, that was very intelligent, but was well intercepted by Wheeler. Tyson Jackson returns to do some defensive work, and now Bazari pushes forward. Some space for Edgeworth out to the left and the right. Adam Corley now to Bauer. He's got men in the middle along the tarmac, and well defended by Tom Davies sliding in.
Yeah, that was better by Edgeworth. A lot more better speed on the play, speed on the ball. The passing was a bit more succinct, so better play by Edgeworth. They're a little bit sluggish in that first, 15 or so minutes, but now they're just starting to come alive since the goal, since Olympic scored the goal.
Well, we've seen them at their best over...
It's the corner. Josh Evans was there, and now Reece Cooper. Thought he may have taken the opportunity to run, but he doesn't. He plays in Leo Bertos, and he makes the run centrally. Reece Cooper. Still Bertos looking to pick that pass. Goes wide to Blake Green. It took a deflection and lobbed straight into the waiting arms of Cavalieri.
I was going to say, we've seen Edgeworth at their best when they've moved the ball quickly and held possession, and they transition very well, and they really need to start doing more of that tonight if they're going to get some result.
Well, Burns goes down in a screaming heap and wins the free kick. A few early free kicks here this evening.
But even so, on that last passage of play, the transition was nice and quick by Olympic.
It was good speed, wasn't it? And Reece Cooper had the opportunity to run, which you wouldn't blame him for doing so. Instead, he played it to Leo Bertos, who almost set up an Olympic second. Here is Tyson Jackson. Wheeler, neat chip to Bazari. Back to Wheeler. And it just breaks down for the Eagles.
Yeah, just going back to that phase play with Bertos, he sort of held the ball up a little bit. It would have been good to see if he could angle a pass in for Reece Cooper, who was running flat out through the centre of the park, and just try and risk that ball. However, when he held the ball up, Edgeworth were able to get defenders behind the ball, and you're nodding at me, CT. You actually agree with me this time.
Yeah, I do actually agree with you. The other thing that he was doing, though, he was summing up his options, and you could see he was weighing up the best one as he was going forward.
So I'll ask you to, well, it's perfect timing now, for your assessment on the opening quarter hour. What do you make of it? It's been pretty intense, and Olympic, I'd probably say, I wouldn't say they deserve the lead. It's been fairly even, to be honest.
Totally agree. I thought Edgeworth were a little bit sluggish in the opening 10 or so minutes. Olympic scored, and then they've got back into second or third gear now. So and their speed of play is a lot quicker and a lot better, and they're more desperate in tackles and better pressure on the ball. So yeah, over the course of the game, it's very even though Olympics up 1-0.
Well, the other thing is they almost had a penalty at Edgeworth as well, so could well be one each.
Here's Simon Mooney, and he's just given Josh Evans a little tug on the shirt, and the free kick goes against the Olympic front man. They haven't had a great record here, Edgeworth, at Darling Street. They haven't won here in the league since 2011. 7 years without tasting success. They did win here in the FFA Cup, but no league victories in 7 years. Here's Will Bauer chasing back. And Reece Cooper just ahead of him. Here is Josh Evans. Bauer. And then Wheeler's touch a little too heavy. Olympic also haven't had a great record at home either. They're winless in their last 5 here.
Just on Josh Evans again, he just pushes himself into midfield, creates that extra man in midfield. It's very effective for Edgeworth, but that's where Olympic can counter-attack that and look for that space in behind when Josh Evans goes forward and if the ball does break down.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you again there, Smudge, because when that happens, it just creates holes in the middle of the park, and that's it's very important to capitalise on it when it happens.
However, he's such an effective player. He there's not many turnovers when Josh Evans has got the ball, and the way he brings himself into midfield, creates that extra man. He does it the best in the business, like an old Ned Zelic.
Here is Bazari. And Tom Davies with a boot in. Jake McInnes looks up, just couldn't quite pick out the pass to Pettit. And now here is Reece Pappas trying to threaded into Simon Mooney's path.
And that's better from Lincoln. See the intent. When they get the ball, they're looking to go forward straight away.
And
you got runners forward.
Is that the difference in your eyes, Smudge, tonight to when we saw them a few weeks ago against Valentine, that intent to go forward?
100%. Well, the second half against Valentine, they had that intent to go forward. They were playing the balls forward. Their body position was facing forward. Where in the first half, they were just playing sideways, just safe possession-based football, which you're not going anywhere. And Valentine just looked comfortable. But today, I like the way they're playing with intent.
So Jamie Burns in field for Jackson, and now Corley. Here is Liam Spurway. And his pass has gone straight to Cody Lucas. Playing in a different role, Liam Spurway, tonight. Primarily a striker in his past NPL incarnation. Now we're playing at left back. Here is Bazari, decides he'll take on the strike. He saw Warren off his line. Beautiful from Dom Bazari, and Edgeworth equalise. A rare goal for Dom.
He saw Tyler Warren off his line, and as we see this ball played out, my gosh, he just picked it up, picked his spot, and then absolutely put it where it needed to go. Wouldn't say a huge amount of power, just knew exactly where it had to be, and it was just a great finish, Smudge.
Yeah, two things. That's probably the first time Olympic didn't put pressure on the ball on Dom Bazari, but Tyler Warren just sort of, I read it late, or it was a bit flat-footed just there, because it sort of just lobbed over him. He sort of must have lost sight of the ball.
It's his first NPL goal in 2.5 years. And probably has occurred due to the fact he's playing higher up the pitch, I would say. You know, he's not playing in that centre-back role or left or right back where he has been in the past. In that defensive midfield, just sitting in front. Allows him some opportunities to do exactly that. Gee, it was such a nice strike, wasn't it? It was so crisp.
I guess, you know, when you're looking at the quality of that strike, is the talent of the football that it puts it exactly where it needed to go. He saw Tyler Warren off his line. He was just slightly out of position, and he just put it where it needed to go, as we said before, and gave Warren no chance.
Sorry.
And just one thing on this pitch, like, it was only 25 yards out. You need to put pressure on the ball. He had time to pick his shot, and he done it beautifully. Great finish.
Is that a save that you would expect a keeper to make 9 times out of 10?
For me, I'd be disappointed if I was a coach. I thought Tyler, he just seemed to be just a little bit flat-footed, and looked like he just missed it a little bit. I don't know if he missed it from the light or seen it late.
An important goal nonetheless, and a fair goal in terms of this match to this point. As Josh Evans flows forward. Here's Pat Wheeler getting involved down the right flank. Swivels infield. Now Tyson Jackson on the spin. And he has a total air swing. That's normally how you play golf, isn't it, CT?
Sure is. I can vouch for that.
3 under today, boys. 3 under.
What, the handicap of 120, or? Sorry about that. Here's Leo Bertos.
Just the other thing what's very evident about Edgeworth and how they've sort of come into the game in the last, say, 10 or so minutes is when Josh Evans has moved himself into midfield and created that extra man. He's done it very effectively, and he just did in that last phase of play.
Well, there is Scott Pettit, took a little deflection, and then Mitch Dobson just hoofs it clear, and Kyle Hodges.
Well, Smudge, you would remember Neil Rubber Owens, very similar in his approach to that, and it can just change the game.
Well, the ball turned over, and Jackson quickly looked forward for Jamie Burns. He's just been pushed over towards the corner. Neat back heel. Here is Tyson Jackson across the face. Edgeworth almost getting the opportunity to make it 2-1. That one's just gone wide. And will be an Eagles corner. They are really moving up the gears now, the Eagles.
Had the opportunity to speak to Jamie Burns today, and he's absolutely buzzing in this team. He loves it. He's found a home, and also speaking to Damien Zane about the same thing. He just enjoys having him in the squad. He said he's
Cooley towards the back post. And Bertos is able to get it away. Just on that Jamie Burns point, CT. Edgeworth still causing some problems. And those quickly dissipate. No, they won't. It will be a free kick. We always thought once you got that young man with some confidence, he can be a real threat.
You know what? I've never thought ever confidence being an issue with Jamie Burns. I'll tell you what it is. Finding a home, somewhere that he's happy and somewhere that he fits in. And he wears his heart in his sleeve, there's no doubt about that. But what he does do, he's explosive in his play and he's a great asset to a side.
So it's Adam Corley on that favoured left boot. Towards the near post, Tyler Warren awake to the danger. He looks long. Scott Pettit brings it down. Here's this space and this transition we've been talking about. It's been impressive so far from Hamilton. Scott Pettit cuts away from Dobson, curling it in towards Bertos. It was just a touch over hit. Smudge, that's what you were talking about.
Yeah, they've been doing it very, very effectively, very efficiently as well. But that end product, well, they've scored one goal, but the end product just hasn't been there at the moment. So, but still a long way to go. It's a very even game. But I like the way Josh Evans is bringing himself in the midfield. He's sort of creating that extra man for Edgeworth, and yeah, his distribution's just second to none, isn't it, CT? And he's like rubber, the old Neil Owens. He was superb at it back in the day.
Yeah, that's for sure. And the people that know Neil Owens probably can have a look at this guy and think, well, he's fairly similar. You know, they inject themselves into the game. When you come out of the back line, as you said before, Smudge, and go into the middle of the park, that's where you're going to create some extra opportunities because you're outnumbering your opposition, especially, you know, when your opposition are maybe playing a flat 4, for example.
Here's Cody Lucas across the face of goal and Josh Evans. What'd you say, Smudge? The rubber man? Josh Evans?
No, well, Neil Owens' nickname is Rubber. When he ran, it's just like he was like just a string of rubber, just nice and loose.
No, I'd agree. I'd agree with that. With that, here's Cooper. Here is Reece Cooper now. Just struck his shot wide. Tyson Jackson quickly after it. His opposite number, Blake Green, was across there. And now Dobson gets it away from immediate danger for Edgeworth, and Tom Davies played it back to Hodges. Just a moment of concern there as Tyler Warren had to clear it away. And Adam Corley stabs it towards Jackson. And it's still Edgeworth probing. Bazari couldn't find his range on that moment. Cody Lucas into McGuinness, who was red carded in his first match for Hamilton Olympic. In the first match, he's been impressive since coming back.
Yeah, I like when McGuinness gets on the ball, looks up, looks forward, and gets off it nice and quickly. He's got nice little touches, got a good passing range, and he's quite aggressive in the challenge as well.
And he was at the Mariners last year. He was at the Jets Youth the year before that. The Eagles goal scorer on the ball now, Don Bazari. He tried to find Tyson Jackson. Kyle Hodges with the intervention, who has broken Barry Park's record, that man on the ball. 122 matches for Hamilton Olympic without a goal. His last NPL goal was back in April 2012. That was for Charlestown City Blues. It's been a while for Kyle Hodges. Here's Reece Cooper. It had also been a while for Don Bazari before tonight, so maybe a night of drought breaking.
Not for Kyle Hodges.
Oh, come on, CT. Get on the Kyle bandwagon. Surely he'll get a goal for Olympic sooner rather than later. That goal actually for Kyle in 2012 was against Edgeworth, so don't write him off.
We love him, but can't see it tonight.
Here is Scott Pettit. Do you think Tyler Warren's got more chance of scoring?
Yes, penalty.
Oh, jeepers. Here's McGuinness. Just was in a tight spot there for a moment. Here is Hodges. And now McGuinness. The run was made forward by Pettit. McGuinness opts to go over to this near side for Leo Bertos. Bertos takes on Spurway, then dinks it over the top. Simon Mooney was waiting. He's got some big goals here, Simon Mooney. Here's Cody Lucas. Pinged in towards the middle again. He returns, Lucas. Will Bauer is just able to hold him at bay.
Smudge, when you're playing a flat 4 versus a 3 in the middle of the park, when you've got overlapping left and right fullbacks, you know, what's your preference?
What's the question?
You would dead set not listening, were you?
We'll come back to that one a little bit later on. Here's Kyle Hodges at the back. One thing I was going to say to you two is, gee, you're a bit soft tonight. Not wearing a jumper. I'm fine up here. I don't need a jumper. It's not cold tonight. You two are both rugged up like you're going to Perisher. Jindabyne. Here's Evans.
So going back to your comment, CT, I thought you made a statement. Was it a question?
No, it's a question. It's a question. So when you're playing a flat 4 like Olympic are doing, and then you've got a 3 in the middle of the park for Edgeworth.
Just hang on a sec. Jamie Burns has kept this ball in, and it may come to no avail for them. It won't at that moment. Just a tricky situation for Olympic.
So effectively a triangle for Edgeworth, and then you've got your left and right guys bombing on, if you like. What's your preference? Do you like the flat 4, or would you prefer you know, the sort of you know, above and below midfielders, if you like, so you're not flat?
Yeah, I like a staggered and sort of a lopsided flat 4, to be honest. Like if one's bombing on, you want the other one just hanging back. So you've always got three at the backs. Some people like a flat 4 when they just keep the 2 central guys at the back, but there's too much space, and if you know the opposition does a quick transition.
Well, Spurway got caught in a pickle there, and now Reece Cooper could make him pay, but he just couldn't find the accuracy on the cross in. Gee, it was a nervy moment for Spurway. 2 teamed there, and now Pat Wheeler pushes forward. Bazari up over halfway, distributes wide to Tyson Jackson. Building nicely here for the Eagles. It's been an easy match on the eye tonight. And Jackson's pass just behind Jamie Burns. Still with Bazari. Takes on another long-range strike. It wasn't far off from Dom Bazari. Hasn't scored in 2.5 years before tonight, and almost had 2 in about 15 minutes.
And again, Olympic just dropping off, not putting pressure on the ball, giving Bazari space to look up, pick his spot and have a shot. Look like he just skewed it just off to the right-hand side. But, yeah, Olympic just need to be a little bit careful there. They need pressure on the ball because he can strike a ball.
You would totally expect Peter McGuinness is going to address that at half-time, because that's where they've been vulnerable. And you know what? Bazari's rated his chances. Pulling the trigger there once for the first time, almost placed it, and then putting some power in.
There's an interception from Wheeler. Quickly to Corley, who goes base over apex and wins the free kick. Adam Corley, a young man who's only scored 3 NPL goals in his couple of seasons at Edgeworth. All of them have come at Magic Park. He scored again there just a couple of weeks ago in their 3-2 victory over Broadmeadow.
This is a free kick that it's too far out to hit it. You would expect to go on target and drip something over the wall here.
Well, he does do exactly that. And it's going to loop. Well, it almost looped up and over Tyler Warren, but got back. He did just drip it over the wall. Dobson. Spurway, a bit of aerial ping-pong for a moment. Now McGuinness, that was well controlled. A bouncing ball, gee, made that look easy. Lucas. Now Kyle Hodges, he was in a really, really compromising position there, old Kyle Hodges. Here's Bertos. And Bertos may have got a clip here. He does go to ground, but there's no whistle. Here is Hodges.
And again, that passage of play, Reece Cooper gets up, looks up, sprays it out the Leo Burdos. First time, great ball across by Burdos and just over Pettit's head at the back stick. I love that quick transition from Olympic at the moment.
Here is Tyson Jackson. Now falls back for the strike from Wheeler this time. He hasn't scored since 2009, Pat Wheeler. That year he actually scored more goals than Damien Zane in the Eagles side, so that just shows you how good a year he had. He scored 3 goals in 09, did Pat Wheeler. None since.
How many did Damien Zane score?
Just the 2. Just the 2 that year. A lean year. And Jake McGuinness has touched too heavy there.
Yeah, there's a blind turn by Jake McGuinness, but anyway, Edgeworth. Oh, great ball.
Here is Simon Mooney. He's dragged away, and the whistle is gone. He was just offside, Simon Mooney.
And again, that quick transition. What a great ball by Pappas, but yeah, Simon Mooney just running offside.
And it was well defended again there by Josh Evans. He just pushed him wide, didn't he? And even if Mooney was able to get a legal shot away, Nate Cavalieri had it well covered.
We've said this many times, Josh Evans is an absolute outstanding player. I love to see, I know he's, how old's Josh at the moment, Bart?
Chipped over the top. Don't have ages, Smudge, because it's very difficult to find out, as you would know. You know, different date of birth and that kind of thing, so.
Bart, normally you're all over everything, and
yeah,
you don't have the ages.
Don't have the ages. I'm going to say about 28, 27, 28.
Yeah, he's an outstanding player. I'd love to see him try his luck somewhere else at a higher level because he's an outstanding player.
Well, he played in the NSL with the Brisbane Strikers. Just the one match here. Here's a turnover straight to Jamie Burns. And it breaks down for the Eagles. Now Tyler Warren. Inside the final 10 minutes in this first half. At Darling Street, it's round 6 of the NPL Northern New South Wales. An early goal from Leo Burtos for Hamilton Olympic, cancelled out by Dom Bazari from Edgeworth. And that's the scoreline currently. Been a pretty even affair up to this point in time. Tyson Jackson, waves away from a couple. Corley, neat touch. Jamie Burns, building nicely. Jamie Burns! Couldn't quite get the radar right there. But Edgeworth are really starting to find some form in that attacking third. They just can't quite find the polish on the finish.
Boys, Daniel McBreen on the bench. Any news there on what that's all about?
I know he was sick last week. He didn't play against Western. He was not in a good way.
And did he play the week before? I think he was out the week before as well, so...
I think Zane just wants to keep the continuity.
Very handy bench player, just quietly. Just going back on that passage of play. Olympic sort of in all sorts defensively there. Edgeworth actually made it a 3v2 on the 18-yard box and probably should have done better with it. So, yeah, Olympic just need to be a little bit careful.
Josh Evans launches. Look at that ball from Josh Evans, straight onto the chest of Will Bauer, and then tries to weave his way away from Cody Lucas. And now Cody Lucas played it up the line to Reece Cooper, and that's a cynical foul from Dom Bazari. And he receives a yellow card, the first of the evening.
Yeah, he didn't really need to do that, Dom Bazari, because you had Josh Evans in cover, and he was all over that. So, yeah, silly foul, but in saying that, Dom probably thought he was the last man, so that was a professional foul.
So Reece Pappas standing over this one.
What I'd like to see more of is quick free kicks. Get the ball down, start playing nice and quick. I don't think we see it enough in this in the local league.
And now Jackson receives the ball off Jamie Burns and then makes the run forward. He had that chance a moment ago, Burns. Can he tap a teammate or take on the strike himself? He didn't get the purchase he would have liked on that. I can tell you, Smudge, Josh Evans would be about 30 years of age, potentially 31. As the best I can do for you is he's born in 1987.
It was the year after I left school.
I thought you were going to say that was the year after you were born, CT. You look about that old. Hamilton Olympic.
I thought it was a decent challenge by Mooney. They went shoulder to shoulder, and I think he just threw Josh Evans off balance. Probably a slight foul on Mooney, but wasn't that bad. I thought he had all eyes on the ball, and yeah.
The thing about Mooney is he'll just go in hard. He's not going to go in too often with any malice. In fact, if his mum and Tim and Lynn are watching, he never goes in with malice. He just goes in tough and hard, and he's a competitive footballer.
Tom Davies, I think, just got his legs taken out from under him by Jamie Burns there. Whistle goes again. Just back on Simon Mooney. He, of course, was meant to be travelling overseas last year and went to Argenton. It's a nice overseas colony of Australia, I think, here in the Hunter. And he scored a bucket load of goals in the Zone League 2, I believe it was last year. They dominated Argenton. They didn't win the grand final. They won the premiership, but couldn't quite beat Hunter Simba in the grand final. But he's back in the NPL this year.
Well, I guess the thing about Simon, he's not about Simon, he's about the team, and whatever he did in that division, it would have been for the greater cause of the team, and would have just had a good time, enjoyed himself.
So Evans comes through on Cooper, and the whistle goes again. Gee, I wish we had stats on fouls, because there's been a multitude of them in this first half.
Yeah, I was about to say that, but especially the last, say, 10 or so minutes, there's been a lot of fouls. It's been a very stop-start sort of football game, where it's quite fluent in that first 10 minutes, or 15 or so minutes. Nice ball by Jake McGuinness.
And just pilots it along the ground, and Hodges. It was Pettit making the run, and then McGuinness almost skewed across the ground. Here's the ball threaded wide for Corley. Should say Jackson. Across the face. It may fall for Bauer. Well, he's had an air swing. How's he missed that, Will Bauer? That just came out of nowhere. Tyler Warren was sort of betwixt and between, unsure what was happening, and in the end, we've got a man down.
From first look, it looked like Cody Lucas actually defended it over the byline, so it'd be good to see a replay on that. I don't think Will Bauer had a chance to have a shot. I think Cody Lucas defended it quite well as it comes across. Yeah, Cody Lucas
just got the boot in. That would explain why Tyler Warren didn't look as worried as what I thought he should look.
And for me, that should have been a foul on Cody Lucas, so it's a free kick to Olympic.
So another corner for Edgeworth.
Boys, Maitland just got got into victory late in the game this afternoon with a 1-0 win over the Jets youth side. Saw Ryan Clark blast one over the bar with about 5 to go. I think it was about 5, maybe 10 to go. He probably want that one again.
It's a decent corner. It's whipped deep. And Edgeworth will keep the pressure on here.
But yeah, Maitland will be very, very happy with that win. And watching Clark's performance during today, he had an outstanding game. Smudge, outstanding he was today.
It took them up to second, that win, Maitland, and Edgeworth will win tonight. Pushes them up the top of the ladder momentarily before Charlestown play tomorrow against Western.
And as you know, Ryan Clark, if he's on fire, he's on fire. He's going to be one of the most lethal players in the competition.
Well, as we know, like you and I have spoken about him off-screen before, he's just one of those players that is above and beyond. He's out of the box, isn't he, Smudge?
He's literally out of the box, isn't he, CT, in a lot of ways.
Jeepers, Smudge, where are you going with that? Here's Cody Lucas.
Yeah, but just to wrap on, yeah, great victory. Jets Youth, they're a very decent side. They're going to cause a few headaches this year.
Here's Kyle Hodges. There's 3 men around him, and it may fall nicely for Edgeworth. Burns threads it wide to Pat Wheeler. The drought breaker. Is this the drought breaker for Pat Wheeler? It deflects on top of goal. Well, I thought that was 9 years of heartbreak for Pat Wheeler was going to come to an end, but it goes on.
So 2 things there. That was a great final challenge by Kyle Hodges. Desperation, lunge and challenge, which prevented the goal. But again, Olympic need to be careful playing around the back. Just a bit too acute there. And if it breaks down, good transition by Edgeworth.
It's low and hard towards the near post. And just unable to be guided on goal by that man, Pat Wheeler.
And so it looks like Edgeworth's actually lining that up. They're allowing Olympic just to play a little bit at the back, wait for that pass inside to the number 6, and once it goes, they put pressure on the ball. If it breaks down, they transition quick, and that's what they did then, and they were very unlucky not to score, and it was a great cover challenge by Kyle Hodges.
So Hodges looked up the line, about faces. Now plays it to Blake Green.
Interesting to see when the Rock Hodges actually faulted in that tackle, or just got away a bit. That's when they got in trouble, and he's just so reliable. Breaks down on him, and they're in trouble.
Cooper looked behind for, like to thread it in behind for Bertos, but just couldn't quite get there. And now Reece Cooper, it's been played straight to him, and Cooper can't find the target. What a moment that was before half-time. Will that come back to hurt them?
Yeah, what a great opportunity for Reece Cooper. Well, what I liked about Reece Cooper, he was about 45 yards out. He looked up, tried to play Leo Bertos in. The ball just went too acute. But then he charged forward, put pressure on the ball, pressure on Josh Evans, won the ball back, and he was one-on-one with the keeper. Very unlucky. Nice bit of play by Olympic and Reece Cooper.
And their leading scorer this year. A couple of goals for Reece Cooper. Now Spurway. Evans is after this one. That'll be strong contact, and is between Davies and Evans. And Tom Davies looks to be a little winded after that.
Yeah, Smudge, I'm not sure about that one. I thought Evans was well entitled to go in for that tackle.
Well, they both slid in together, didn't they? So I thought it was a fair challenge either way. Just on Josh Evans, I watched him go back.
And that will do for the opening 45 minutes here at Darling Street. It started with a goal from Leo Bertos, Hamilton Olympics New Zealand international with the strike. It was a bit of a scramble, but it got the job done, and then Don Bazzari equalised for Edgeworth to break a 2.5-year goal-scoring drought for the Eagles midfielder. So half-time here at Darling Street in round 6 of the NPL Northern New South Wales. And it is Hamilton Olympic 1, Edgeworth Eagles 1. Smudge, what were you just saying before the half-time whistle went?
Like I said, when Josh Evans has come into the midfield and created that extra man, it's really it's caused Olympic a few problems. But what I've noticed, the difficulty with that, what Olympic could do is there's going to be space in behind. So if they get the ball, they can transition quickly where Josh has come from. But I just noticed every time he goes forward, Don Bazzari drops straight back in that hole, which blocks that fall, which is really well played by Edgeworth.
All right, well, we'll take a quick break. You haven't got anything to add, have you, CT?
Nope.
All right. Well, that sounds good then. We'll go to the break. We'll be back in 10. Half-time here at Darling Street. It's all locked up. Edgeworth and Hamilton Olympic at 1-1. Welcome back to Darling Street Oval, home of Hamilton Olympic. It's round 6 of the NPL Northern New South Wales this evening, and it is 1-1. Currently Leo Bertos with the opener for Olympic, and then Edgeworth equalised through Dom Bazari. That's where we stand at the moment, just waiting to get play back underway. Jamie Burns in the centre circle, the Eagles' leading scorer this year with 4 goals. 2 last week against Western. He's had some chances tonight, and he'll be hoping to add to his account in the next 45 minutes of play. So we are back underway, second half in this great rivalry between the Edgeworth Eagles and Hamilton Olympic. How do you see it playing out, Smudge?
Yeah, I thought both coaches would be reasonably happy with their first half. I think Edgeworth started a little bit sluggish, but really came into their own. Once they conceded, actually, Josh Evans started moving himself in the midfield and sort of creating that extra man, as we spoke before. And I thought they were very good coming home in the end of the first half. But also Olympic had a few chances. Both sides have had a few chances. So very even game at the moment. I think it's going to come down to the team makes the least amount of mistakes. I know it's a cliche. Edgeworth's on the attack here, Bart.
Pat Wheeler got his trailing leg taken out by Kyle Hodges. Bazari across the base. There's bodies flying everywhere. And the ball somehow doesn't end up in the back of the net, and it'll just be a goal kick.
And again, Olympic they're playing through the centre of the park just too acutely at the moment. And what Edgeworth's waiting on that ball to the number 6, and as soon as the ball goes in, they're putting pressure, and then they're transitioning quick. They've had quite a few chances with the breakdown. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting how it plays out in the second half. Your thoughts, CT?
Totally agree, Smudge. They both come out with an intent to attack, that's for sure. It looks that way. And coming in, 1-1, sorry. It just works, and it plays into a situation where you've got to make an intent early in the second half, Smudge.
There is Nate Cavalieri at the back, as Edgeworth look to build it up from their own defensive third. And the reason why CT and Smudge aren't chatting at the moment is because they've got a face full of chips at the moment from the Hamilton Olympic canteen. Great hospitality here at Darling Street, as always. As this is turned over straight to Dom Bazari, and he plays it back to Wheeler, and it made us break down for the Eagles.
Yeah, I've got a face full of CT's chips while I was just talking there, Bart, just earlier.
Here's Blake Green. Gee, that's a neat touch from Green, just to feign away from Tyson Jackson. Here is Leo Bertos. Cody Lucas swerved his run infield, and now here is Reece Cooper. Just dinked towards the back post. Pettit's there, and as is Simon Mooney, who guides it home. And Olympic start the second half like they started the first. And Simon Mooney, he has his first goal back in Hamilton Olympic colours in 2018.
What a delivery into the box, and then Simon Mooney just held off just a fraction and then just rose up and put it away with authority. He just made absolutely no mistake, Smudge.
You go a step back. Look, Reece Cooper's turn in the middle of the park. Great turn, great ball out. He sucked the defender a little bit. Great ball out for Scott Pettit. Great delivery. Unmarked Mooney and someone else. There was someone else there. I think it was Leo Bertos in the back.
Pettit.
Oh,
Scott Pettit, yeah. Pettit was waiting for his first goal in Olympic colours, but Simon Mooney was just in front of him and nodded it home first.
That was well played by them. And it was a quick transition again. We said they're dangerous on that quick transition if they win the ball and play forward nice and quick. But the turn by Reece Cooper was superb. He's a great player.
That's back to square one for Edgeworth, and they're going to have to come from behind for the second time this evening. Leo Bertos just got a little bit of a clip. And Will Bauer on that far side. Now Evans swerved away from Cooper. Burns held it up nicely. Here it is, curved across the face of goal and turned over, and Reese Cooper races up the ground again. Spies Mooney, still with Cooper, tries to dink it over Nate Cavalieri, who tracked back. And enterprising stuff there from the speedy midfielder for Hamilton Olympic.
And I like what Reese Cooper's doing. They're playing a 4-4-2, but he sort of drops into that number 10 role in the pockets where there's space. He's able to turn, and he's done that very effectively tonight, Reese Cooper, and he's having a very good game.
Tyson Jackson is able to get around Green, but then the touch was too heavy. But I think Green just got a foot in there, and it will be a corner for Edgeworth.
He has good recovery from Green and well defended in the end.
Had to quickly get on his bike. So it's Adam Corley. He's going to swing it in again. There is Corley. To be too much depth on it, and was. Mitch Dobson has some work to do. Racing around at the back post. Bertos' ball unable to. Bertos just unable to keep it inside the line. And this evening, Olympic seem to have cured their issues in front of goal. Only Adamstown and Valentine, who are in 10th and 11th on the ladder, had scored fewer goals than Hamilton Olympic this season. They just struggled to make a dent in the front third. Just 6 goals coming into this match.
We spoke about the injection of Simon Mooney, and he has been a good one, and he's always a threat. Having said that he's just scored that goal, I mean, it's not just that statement. We mentioned it earlier, Smudge, and he's always creating, you know, another options, whether dragging people away or it's getting himself in.
Jackson in. Tyler Warren, gee, got a boot maybe in the chest.
Yeah, he did well, Tyler Warren, did a great punch. But talking about Simon Mooney, what he does, he actually drags his defenders away and makes that forward run. He goes offside a little bit, but it's dangerous. If you can get that ball through to him, he's one-on-one. He's got pace and he can score goals.
So Kyle Hodges now to Pappas across the back line. Tom Davies.
That's where Olympic need to be careful. They've been caught a few times just playing too acutely at the back.
And Reese Pappas just turned nicely away from the run of Corley. Bazari has his legs taken out from under him now. No whistle. Very physical this match. In the middle of the park, Wheeler and Bazari's in trouble here. Doesn't stay down often, Don Bazari. And Kyle Hodges will put this one over the sideline. They've fallen awkwardly here, and does it look like it may be an arm issue?
Look, I think it looked like a knee in the back, actually. I haven't seen the replay, but it looks like he's crushing it around his kidney area. So I didn't actually see what happened, but he looks like he's in a bit of pain. And Don Bazari just doesn't go down either.
Just looking to the Edgeworth bench, they've got, of course, Daniel McBrain, Lockie Pasquale, Bailey Garland there, and Jacob Golding in terms of outfield play. So very much attack-heavy bench, and they have all run down to just warm up for the moment.
Yeah, you could go light for light, bringing Pasquale into the 6 if Bazari does go off, but I don't know. You'd be very tempted to throw McBreen on there, wouldn't you, CT?
You would, especially in the fact that your team's behind and you need to get a result here. So won't be surprised at all if McBreen goes on. The other thing is you wouldn't expect him to go and warm up if he's not going on.
Yeah, I'm certain there'll be some game time for Daniel McBrain tonight, especially considering this situation. And Pappas has played that straight to Tyson Jackson, who quickly turns, and there'll be some pressure for Olympic to soak up here. Corley touches to Bazari, looks to have recovered pretty quickly, dinks it over the top. Jamie Burns and Tyler Warren was down on the ground to bring that one within his grasp.
And again, great run by Jamie Byrne. Just sort of cut through the back four of the of Olympics. Great forward run.
Reese Pappas sees the run of Scott Pettit. Just overhits the ball though.
Yeah, and the ball just seemed to skid just away from Jamie Byrne just at that last minute when he was just about to put the strike on goal.
Here is Hodges.
I must say, so you've got a never-ending box of chips there.
Here is Hodges. Pettit. And shoulder to shoulder between Maxwell and Pettit. Pettit goes back to McGuinness. And again, maybe this ball movement from Olympic just was slowing a touch there, and that keen to play it backward more so than moving forward.
Yeah, my concern with Olympic is when they play it side or backwards, they can get caught. Oh, great turn.
Here it is. Simon Mooney just stumbled. Still Mooney. Can he regain his composure and footing? It was blocked by the chest of Bazzari. Now McGuinness quickly whips a ball to Leo Burtos. Burtos into the middle. And then it will be Bazzari to clear it away from danger. And here is Will Bauer. Sending Jamie Burns on the chase. He gives Tom Davies a right shove in the back there. And maybe a little bit of feeling between those two.
Yeah, Burns is pointing to his shoulder, but he should have been pointing to his hand, I think.
It was a fair shove, wasn't it?
It was so obvious. Yeah, I like it when Olympic look to play forward. When they get the play at the back here, they just need to be a little bit careful. Because what Edgeworth will do, they'll suck the pass into the 6, and then they'll put pressure on.
So Hodges skews it to Reece Cooper. He did well,
Great
Reece
header.
Cooper.
That was a superb header.
He just guided it to Green. And now Mooney. Here's Bazzari, stepped away from McGuinness. Pinball in the Hamilton half. Hamilton attacking half, I should say. Here's Evans darting back and wins the free kick, Josh Evans. Quickly, Edgeworth have to move it forward. Wheeler with to loop it towards Burns. Now Cody Lucas to Burtos. It's been a constant threat down the right, just couldn't angle the pass.
I think Zane will look to his bench very soon. I think he'll be a little bit frustrated at the moment. I wouldn't be surprised if he brings McBreen on very shortly.
So Kyle Hodges this time plays it straight to Evans.
They need width here, Edgeworth. It's too narrow. It's easy. It's very defendable.
Scott Pettit. Back to Green. The pressing from Edgeworth is quite strong at the moment, and Adam Corley is quickly back in possession for the Eagles.
And we've touched on it a few times. Edgeworth just waiting to pin that pass in when Olympic played into the 6.
Here it is, Tyson Jackson. He got away from Green. This one well over here. That's straight to Leo Burtos. Accepted the ball gleefully and went back to Cody Lucas. Just totally released the pressure. But Olympic are getting themselves into some really tight situations here. Here's another one. It's been turned over. You sense it's only a matter of time before Edgeworth get a golden chance on goal.
Yeah, where Olympic look good is playing the ball forward. But lately they've just playing a bit sideways.
Just seems like it's all hands to the pump here for Olympic currently. Just not moving the ball forward. They're turning it over at will. And Edgeworth are consistently knocking on the door. If you give Edgeworth enough chances, they will make you pay, as we've seen this season. They're the second best attacking side in the comp on the ratio of games or goals to games, only behind Maitland as Jamie Burns, well, he needed a step ladder to get up to that one. It's just defensively where Edgeworth have had their deficiencies this year. It's been surprising because last year they conceded less than a goal a game. This year they've already conceded 9 goals in this, their 5th match. So almost going at 2 goals a game.
And you look at the 2 goals tonight, that first goal was quite sloppy. It's sort of just a bit of a golf mouth scramble. And then it was a great finish by Mooney, the second goal by Olympic, but he was free in the 6-yard box for a free header.
Here's an opportunity now for Edgeworth to find that equaliser for the second time tonight. Tyson Jackson, well, he saw some space at the back post to dink it over Tyler Warren, much like Reece Cooper did in round 3 against Valentine. Just didn't have the accuracy.
Yeah, just going back to Olympic, just need to be a little bit careful. Once the ball goes out the green or Cody Lucas, they're looking to play Pappas or McGuinness, who's playing the sort of the dual 6 role in. And what Edgeworth's doing is waiting for that pass, and they're pressing them, breaking quick.
Tyson Jackson speeds off down the right flank. And well defended again. That was Jake McGuinness.
He's been good, McGuinness.
Mitch Dobson cuts out the ball. And that pass from Maxwell well behind Evans. And Daniel McBrain takes off his jumper. And he will be heading out onto the park shortly. And just, we know in the front third, Daniel McBrain is going to add a lot. But he's also going to add a lot of torque to this lineup.
Look, he really will. I know that's, a strength of his game. But his strength of the game is to get the job done. By that meaning he's able to make passes. He puts pressure on and creates errors in defences that will create opportunities for his side.
Mooney with a nutmeg there on Maxwell.
Just quickly, CT, would you bring McBreen on as a number 9 or just in as a number 10?
Okay, for people that aren't familiar with the numbers, I'd bring him in behind the striker. So if Jamie Burns is a number 9, the guy that's highest, I'd bring him in behind it. He's gonna create his opportunities in there. You want him on the ball. You want him to create opportunities, and that's where he'll best do his work.
Well, here's Corley, and now Will Bauer. Can he reach it in front of the byline? It sits up for Tyson Jackson. And it will be a corner. After all that, deflecting off an Olympic player and over the byline.
Yeah, better play by Edgeworth. And you know what? It was a transition, nice and quick play. Great cutback by Will Bauer. And Tyson Jackson unlucky.
And it is going to be Daniel McBrain coming onto the park for Adam Corley.
So I think you're right, CT. I think McBrain will play as a number 10. He'll try and find those pockets, trying to bring their midfielders and strikers in play. He'll try and direct traffic in the centre of their centre 3 as well. So, yeah, good substitution by Zane, obviously.
And what a weapon to have on the bench. I mean, you bring him in and you love bringing that sort of player in.
So Dom Bazzari hidden down there in the corner. Whipped in towards the back post. No been Will Bauer there. Here is Jackson. It was hidden well down there and sprayed over the bar.
So I've watched Edgeworth a few times this year. The combination between Byrne and McBreen's been quite lethal this year. They've got a good understanding of each other. They're both very experienced players, but I like the way McBreen, he's probably going to, looks like he's going to do a bit of a pushing McBreen up alongside Byrne. But what McBreen will do, he'll drop in the pockets, play like a 10. He'll be able to turn, create, get space, and bring other players into play.
Well, there's his first touch, McBreen. Quite silky up the line. Tyler Warren has got Eagles charging at him from all angles. And it just has that feeling about it from up here. For me, I just can't see Edgeworth not getting an equaliser. It just has that feeling about it that Edgeworth will eventually strike. They may find it now. Bauer falls for Jamie Burns. Or I can't quite believe that he has put that wide. He was offside in the end, Jamie Burns, so it won't have counted anyway. But Olympic, they're just inviting pressure, aren't they, Smudge?
Yes, like we're talking about. They're sort of playing sideward, backward passes through the midfield. They have to be careful. They need to get to play the ball further down the park in the front third. Be a bit more effective and efficient with their passing. But again, McBreen gets on the ball. As his second touch creates a goal. Creates an opportunity for a goal, sorry.
Just off screen in the last few minutes, Simon Mooney's been stretching out his calf. He's cramping up a little bit, so you sense his minutes may be numbered. The Olympic, one of the Olympic goal scorers tonight, Simon Mooney. That's a great ball from Reece Pappas to Leo Bertos. They can find a third here, Olympic, after being dominated for the last little period. That would be a hammer blow. Neat movement from Bertos. Falls for him again. And the less said about that strike, the better.
He's been good, Bertos. Like you see the skill, the individual skill of that man, and being able to create opportunities like that, Smudge. Time and time again, he's been consistent all game.
He's been consistent over the last 10 years or so playing A-League, one-on-one situations. He's very effective at it, very good. He knows what he's going to do. He knows he's going to size the defender up, and this is good pressure by Olympic. It's better.
They're just responding from the push from Edgeworth.
Yeah, they sort of just dropped off, not putting too much pressure on the ball, not the last 15 or so minutes. Edgeworth coming forward, and that sort of sparked him into gear.
Well, if the game was a tug-of-war, Edgeworth would be well on top, but Olympic just responding here. Putting in a couple of surges. Here's Will Bauer against that eastern touchline. Evans. And now Olympic by Jake McGuinness. Now Bertos. Read well by Spurway. He's been solid at left back tonight.
And they're the balls you can't turn over. You can't, because all your players are going forward.
Here is Jackson. Wide to Jamie Burns. Can he cut it across the face? He can. Daniel McBreen. There he is. First goal of the season in round 6 for the former Central Coast Mariners star. And Edgeworth have the equaliser for the second time tonight, and it was coming.
Totally agree, Bart, McBreen. But just going back on Jake McGuinness, he played the ball with the outside of the foot. It didn't make its mark. Olympic had 4 or 5 players running forward. They got caught out. They transitioned really quick, Edgeworth. Great ball across. Great goal by McBreen. We knew McBreen would do something, didn't we? So great substitution by Zane, and McBreen, great finish.
And all of a sudden, Olympic, they're in a little spot of bother here.
And just going back on that, because the players were bombing forward, their right fullback was already forward, so McBreen was free at the back stick. You have to be careful. You have to stick your passes. And that's what hasn't happened the last 10 or so minutes with Olympic.
Is it a confidence thing with Olympic? They've won once this year. They get up. There's still a decent amount of time left in this game, but they have the lead in the second half. Do they subconsciously just play more defensive?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a confidence thing, but sometimes an inexperience thing, because really you had Pettit going forward, you had Mooney going forward, you had Reece Cooper going forward. You should have hit one of the pockets or one of the gaps for one of those players. McGuinness played the side pass out wide, but he played it with his outside of his foot. It didn't get there, and they were caught at the back. And great transition by Edgeworth. They're very effective and clinical, aren't they, CT? And McBreen just finishes up beautifully.
Well, we thought before he came into the game that he was going to create those opportunities by sitting in behind them.
Here is Bauer. Absolutely thumped that cross. I just want to ask you, CT, after they've been stuck in neutral for about 20 minutes, how do Olympic move back into drive and start moving forward again?
I think at this point of the game for them is that they're being absolutely outplayed in terms of field position. So it's not necessarily possession, but field position. Edgeworth are down in their area. So for me, what I'd like to see them to do, if they're going to get back and get some more opportunities, is get the ball down the other end and play down there consistently. Because at the moment, it doesn't look like they're getting out.
And this is what I mean. They're trying to play out from the back. They need to be very careful here. And this is where they're getting caught. And Edgeworth just sizing it up and allowing them to do it. And then they put pressure on the ball. It breaks down, and then Edgeworth go. They transition really quick. I like to see Olympic play the ball forward a lot quicker, get it to their front three, like they were doing in the first half. That's a great ball if it gets over. And attack from there.
And now Pat Wheeler looks up and sees the run of Tyson Jackson. And Kyle Hodges' clearance is going to fall to the youngster. Turn from Reece Pappas, now to McGuinness. There has to be a response here from Pete McGuinness' side.
Yeah, too acute again. McGuinness had a chance to go to Leo Burtis first ball, but he's turned back around. So that's why they just need to be careful. Touch and play forward. That's why they're doing well in the first half.
Sometimes when you're in the position that Olympic are in, you've just got to get the ball out of your danger zone, and by that is they're wanting to play out, but if it's not working, and Edgeworth and putting that pressure on, as you're saying, Smudge, it doesn't always get you to where you want to be. Sometimes you just be a little bit more direct, get it down there, and then set up and play down there.
A little bit of tension, and Jared Sutherland's going to come onto the park, and Jake McGuinness is going to make way. Pete McGuinness, bring your son off the ground, sending another former Central Coast Mariners youth product, Jared Sutherland, too. He's very diminutive, got great control on the ball. As Kyle Hodges rocketed that to Green, feels for handball, not heeded by Peterkin. Now Sutherland, that's the only disadvantage I'd probably say for Jared Sutherland is just his size. Sometimes gets out muscle, but look at the skill and the speed going forward. He's got plenty of that. So there's Pat Wheeler, just strength diving in, winning the ball.
Yeah, Jared Sutherland, he's got skill, he's got speed, he's quite elusive. However, he sometimes has to work out when to give it, when to keep it. Sometimes he holds that ball just a tad too long, just like then. But he's a very effective player, and he's got a lot of potential.
Groans from the home fans as Edgeworth receive another free kick.
Milked it.
Here's Mitch Dobson. He saw Daniel McBrain there. Couldn't find the radar though. Evans. Now spur away infield. McBrain, gee, almost picked out Jamie Burns. It falls for Jackson, who was bobbling. And Tyler Warren happy to accept it.
And you can see here, Edgeworth have been comfortably dominating this field position. Almost Olympic have got to get something on the counter. That's what it feels like. Moving into Edgeworth's defensive territory right now, it just seems like the turnover is happening a little bit too easy. And, their build-up's got to be stronger, hold more possession.
But even mix it up a bit, play a few longer cross balls or diagonal balls, just get the ball forward a bit quicker because it's playing straight into Edgeworth's hands at the moment, and Olympic just need to be very careful. And like we said, look, and again, too many touches on the ball.
And here's McBrain. So much experience, he knows the right pass to pick. He goes to Tyson Jackson, who's been causing problems down that side all night. Whips it infield. Turned over by Cooper, but illegally challenged by McBrain and Jackson.
But even so, Blake Green there, he's had a touch, then was going to get rid of it. He nearly got pinched. The ball nearly got pinched. They need to get the ball forward quicker. And sometimes you think Olympic could be their own worst enemy here, because they're just Edgeworth's lining up to pinch the ball.
And that's the thing, when you play a style where you say, well, we've got to play it out from the back.
Here we go again. If this breaks down, Edgeworth's going to be 3v2 through the centre of the park.
And that's the thing, Smudge. As a coach, do you go, let's always play it out from the back and let's play to my certain style or philosophy as...
No, you need to plan A.
Do you have to go, all right, I'm going to be pragmatic and we're going to do what's going to win this football match this evening?
100% agree with you about that, but you need a plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D, whatever. You need different, like there's different. What are you laughing at, CT? I know my alphabet, mate. But yeah, you need different ideas. At the moment, it's just too obvious for Olympic, and it's just...
And there's just groans from the crowd again as that ball just played straight to Sam Maxwell. Mooney pressing in on Dobson, who did well to hold on to that because there was some serious heat from that challenge from Simon Mooney.
He's a good player, Dobson.
Flicked on by Bauer. Burns. Kyle Hodges controlling well at the back.
That's better. First time ball forward. But now, yeah, they just have to be careful. You don't want to go backwards here. That's better.
And now Scott Pettit can't bring it under his control, and it's a rare mistake from him tonight.
You're just going on your plan A, plan B. I think if you are under the pump, you need to have a different game plan. Here we go.
McBreen again. He's loving these runs from Tyson Jackson down the right flank. And he find the quality on the cross.
Yeah, if you are playing out from the back, but you're getting caught regularly, which Olympic are at the moment, you need to have a plan B and maybe play the ball a bit more forward, a bit more on the diagonal, get the ball forward more in your front third, even if it goes beyond the back four of Edgeworth, and press and try and win the ball off them.
That's Bauer again, that's straight to Tyler Warren. Yeah, two very much new look sides on the park tonight, continuing this great rivalry between Hamilton Olympic and Edgeworth. No player on the park tonight that scored in the meetings between these two sides last year. And just 9 of the 22 players that played in the last meeting between these two started tonight. So very much a changing of the guard at both Edgeworth and Hamilton Olympic over the last few months. And the goal scorers tonight, Leo Bertos and, sorry Smudge, you just spotted something. Leo Bertos and Mooney for Olympic. And Mooney is bumped down in the box. Peterkin waves it away to Edgeworth at Don Bazari. And Daniel McBreen with the goals for them. It sits at 2-2. So we enter the final period of this one, the crucial minutes.
Peterkin looks like he got that one right. There's no issue there. But I just want to go back to on McBreen, where he's coming to this game. Normally he starts, but coming in fresh when everyone else is a little bit fatigued, his thought and his passing has been absolutely outstanding and making a difference. And it just looks like he's going to be the one that changes it.
Will Bauer now on the edge of the box, and he was just seemed to be a little unsure of whether he should cross or shoot. And he did neither.
Well, McBreen already has changed. He scored a goal, hasn't he, to equalise. So, but even just going back on Olympics play a few phases back, they made about 5 or 6 passes but didn't go anywhere. I like to see him play 1-2 like over on that far side. But then they played at the Pappas, then he done the switch. That's what I like to see. Change it up, 1 or 2 passes, get through the middle, then switch the ball. Not 6 or 7.
Reece Cooper brings it under his control.
And sorry, Bart, and that's the other...
Blake Green just got in front of Jackson. Thought he left that a little short, but Tyler Warren hurriedly rushed out to clear.
And that's the other thing. Reece Cooper has been a standout for Olympic, but he hasn't been in the game for the last 10 minutes because he has barely...
Brain almost between the lines. He hasn't been in the game, has he, Smudge? Very much been kept quiet in the middle of the park.
Well, the ball's not getting to him. The ball's been played at the back, so if you get the ball played forward to Reece Cooper... Here he is, look.
Neat touch and straight to Scott Pettit, and immediately it has Edgeworth with some concerns at the back. Pettit and Dobson just jockeying him back towards Cooper. Now sits for Pappas. Couldn't keep the strike down.
Yeah, but just really quickly, Bar, that's what I was saying before. We've just got a substitution here. But that's what I was just saying before. You get the ball forward to Reece Cooper, the players who can create things. Get it forward nice and quick, and that's what they were doing in the first and second, like in the first half and early in the second half, and they're looking very dangerous. Looks like a change here, Bart.
Yeah, so it's going to be Sean Pratt coming on for Scott Pettit. So his lean run in terms of goal scoring will continue. No goals in 5 matches at his new home. He's very much a confidence player, isn't he? Last year at the back end of the season with Magic, he scored a ton of goals late, 4 in 5 matches or something, and just can't quite get in the groove.
See, I don't mind that. They're in danger. Pump the ball long, turn Edgeworth round, now press up and wait for Edgeworth to make a mistake. Just on that, Jared Sutherland's moved out to the left-hand side where Pettit was, and Sean Pratt's gone inside where Jared Sutherland was, and Jake McGuinness was previously before that.
Sean Pratt, his first touch tonight wasn't a great one. And now Jackson up and over the top for Will Bauer. That is a superb finish, but he's offside. What a great finish from the young man, but he's just caught offside.
And see then Edgeworth, they transition very quick. Great ball, 20, 30-yard ball in beyond their back four. Bauer just slightly offside, making the run. Should have probably went more diagonal than straight. And what a great finish. Unfortunately, it's not a goal for them.
That's going to beat the run of Leo Berthos. I just want to ask you, Smudge, about this change for Olympic. Obviously, they want to play the ball out from the back, and then all of a sudden when they need a late goal, they're playing it long. I just don't understand it. Why wouldn't you do it from the start if it's, if you think it's going to work for you? Yeah,
but the thing is, you have a game plan, and like their game plan at the start was, they were really playing it long at the start. They're playing the ball forward. They're getting a touch, playing it forward, nice and quick, and they'll transition really quickly with 4 or 5 players. Where the last part of this half, they've sort of just played the ball sideways, backwards, not really going anywhere. It's not effective possession-based football. And then they've started to resort into a bit more longer stuff and diagonal stuff, which can turn Edgeworth round, but it's more passing the ball forward rather than sideways and backwards.
There's Pat Wheeler and McBrain.
But also Edgeworth's putting a lot of pressure on them, so they're forcing them to play the long ball every now and again.
Here is Pat Wheeler. Standing next to the touchline. Now to McBrain. Great touch. Is he on track for a double? No, he's not. He just couldn't get the ball on target. McBrain didn't quite have the power either. So it remains 2-2. Great to have your company tonight. NPL Northern New South Wales. It is round 6. Live here on Bar TV from Darling Street, the home of Hamilton Olympic, who have started the season slowly. Olympic, just 1 win in their opening 4 matches. Edgeworth, they're on a 3-match winning streak, looking to make it 4. And the way they're playing at the moment, they could well do so. They're causing Olympic some problems at the back. Tom Davies, straight to Wheeler. Now Will Bauer. Finished that goal so superbly that was cancelled out due to the offside. Now Leo Berthos is being afforded some room down that right edge. Pappas with the spin. Quickly plays it to Cody Lucas. Back to Cody Lucas in the midfield.
That's better by Olympic.
Here's Jared Sutherland chiming in on the left flank. Cross the face. Simon Mooney just couldn't quite wrap his boot around it. It will be a corner. Well, that's the best passage of play Olympic have had in this second half since they scored.
And just quickly, you see that all them passes were either forward, one sideways, but about 5 or 6 forward passes that they got from their right fullback position to their far left fullback position in about 7 passes. That's what you want.
Yeah, and if you go back and have a look at that previous passage, Sutherland was in a lot of space and created width through Olympic, so that helped generate that opportunity.
Here it is, Cooper, up they rise. Cavalieri was strong with the punch. It fell for Pappas, and it may fall here for Edgeworth, and Will Bauer it does. Jamie Burns looks up. Bauer got cleaned up in back play. Tyson Jackson just couldn't quite beat Jared Sutherland, but he was quick with the throw. Bazari, and then back to Dobson. Pratt stuck the boot out. Now Spurway. Daniel McBrain. That's a pinpoint ball in. Well, maybe just behind the run of Tyson Jackson. And it breaks down for Olympic again. So inside the final 10 minutes here at Darling Street. Both sides searching for that elusive late winner. Edgeworth haven't won here in the NPL since 2011. And Olympic haven't won here in their last 5 matches. Jackson, Bazari, gee whiz. What an opportunity for Dom. An opportunity for a double.
He was absolutely free in the 6-yard box. The ball just looked like it just went behind him, so it was a difficult header. But, yeah, Olympic need to be desperate in defence there.
Is that where Damien Sain is hoping that Daniel McBrain is sitting there in the middle of the box?
Yeah, or any player really. But I think the ball just went just slightly behind him. But yeah, someone like a McBreen would have maybe guided that home. But yeah, it was a difficult chance. But yeah, I think Olympic need to be a bit more desperate in defence there. And that's what Pete McGuinness said to me before the game. Desperation's been their key in defence, and that's where they've conceded quite a few goals. They haven't been desperate enough.
Smudge, haven't mind the look of Jared Sutherland, the way he's giving the Olympics some width late in the game.
Turned over again. Dom Bazari flowing forward. Has the run of Burns. And Jamie Burns at a tough angle. Tyler Warren. Did he have to make that save?
Look, when in doubt, keep it out. That's about the size of it. And tell my children that. Often, in life, in general, when in doubt, make sure it's out. If he thinks it's half a chance, he's just going to make sure it's not. You're trying to create something that doesn't exist much. Just leave it alone. But he's made the right choice. If he wasn't sure, he's just going to make sure that it's not going in the goals.
So here is Will Bauer. Bazari. We have another opportunity. Went back to Jackson. And now Josh Evans. He's unstoppable.
Great ball.
Stands tall. Pat Wheeler. Wheeler, deflection, and straight into the arms of Tyler Warren. What a goal that would have been for Pat Wheeler.
And the passage, like 2 plays before, Olympic lost the ball in the middle of the park again. That's why they have to be careful, because they've got players going forward. If they lose the ball, there's going to be less in defence.
Well, don't go anywhere. This is entertaining end-to-end football at the moment, as both sides search for 3 important points and a third goal tonight. Jackson slips over. Sutherland takes advantage of it. But he's run into cul-de-sac, Jared Sutherland. Played it back to Pratt. Great 1-2 with Reece Cooper. And Pratt's ball just lacked quality.
Yeah, just on Sutherland. He did very well then, but his first, if he had one touch and played it into Mooney, Mooney was going to be one-on-one with Dobson in the back. But he had too many touches. If he played it first time, it would have been very interesting to see what happened.
Sean Pratt lost his bearings. Won't come back to hurt Olympic in that moment. Now Cody Lucas. He's got some pace to burn with those bright fluoro boots. Bertos. Cody Lucas back to Bertos. Just took Will Bauer's boot on the way through.
We're probably looking at about 6 or 7 minutes to go here. Plenty of opportunity for both sides.
Leo Bertos now. His first touch lets him down. Bauer, the flick on. McBreen just went whack first time. He knew where Jamie Burns would be. And it allows Edgeworth now to create some pressure from their attacking third. So it was 1-1 at half-time. After first half goals to Bertos from Olympic, Pizzari from Edgeworth. 2-2 now with goals from Simon Mooney, who plays that ball to Cooper, and Daniel McBreen in the second 45 minutes. That one over hit from Reece Cooper. McBreen, all the time in the world there in the middle of the park. To Wheeler. And Kyle Hodges cuts out the dinked pass over the top, looking for Burns. Jackson. Cut it back inside the byline. They fall for him again. Blake Green just lost his bearings across the face and cleared away.
Oh, that one's hurt Mooney.
And this one won't be hurting him at all. Played straight to him. It was a gift from Maxwell. Now Reece Cooper. Both sides just giving away possession cheaply at the moment. Maxwell got away from Sean Pratt with ease and then burned away from Sutherland. Now Wheeler. Continue the ball moving forward to Bauer. And Jackson's going to have to get on his bike if he's to run this one down inside the line. He does. Tyson Jackson low. Was dipping. Tyler Warren searches for Leo Bertos with the long goal kick. Now McBrain, cut out by Davies. And McBrain wins the ball back off Sean Pratt. Giving away the ball on a few occasions, Pratt. Jackson turns Green inside and out. Then Bazari threads it back. McBrain!
Oh, and gets it.
Who else but Daniel McBrain to win this clash for the Eagles? He thumped it home, and the Eagles lead it by 3-2.
Well, Smudge, we said if someone was going to make a big difference in this game, it was Daniel McBrain, and that he has. 2 goals now when he comes on as a substitution. Came in, plays in behind Jamie Burns, sits in the pocket, creates the pass, goes out wide, gets him in the top territory, and then he's on the end of it to finish. And what a great finish that was as well.
We said it was coming, Edgeworth. They've been superb in the second half. And again, yeah, McBrain.
And that hurts.
He's a special player, isn't he?
That really hurts Hamilton Olympic.
But you could see it coming over the past 20 or so minutes. So when they got the equaliser,
they were coming, weren't they?
Yep, you could see it coming.
And for the first time this evening, Edgeworth hit the front. They've been behind for much of the night. And now Sean Pratt. And it looks as though Hamilton's poor start to the season may continue. Can they find something here? And now Blake Green across the face. Well, there it was for Simon Mooney. They almost pulled it out of the fire.
What a great ball across by Blake Green. Simon Mooney just unlucky. Just the ball just went a bit too firm across the front of the goal.
You just wonder that knock that he's taken. He's been cramping with that. Just that half a metre is the difference there. Game's
Sean
not
Pratt
over.
brings it under his control. Sean Pratt didn't get the purchase he would have liked on that left-footed strike. So into stoppage time. The cries from the Eagles bench is just to pump it up the ground. Bauer, nice chest down, strong challenge. And he won the ball from Cody Lucas, who came across. Edgeworth happy to just let time tick down. Now, it's been a long time between drinks since the Eagles won at Darling Street in a league match. It may be ending tonight. 2011, the last time they won here in an NPL or NBN State League competition. Maxwell, it's a tough match to come and play at. Ground to play at, and Glenn Peterkin finishes it all off. And it will be Edgeworth who make it 4 wins in succession and get a victory at Darling Street for the first time in 7 years in the NPL competition, and they will climb back to the top rung of the NPL ladder, while Olympics' winless run stretches to 3 matches. And it may not be panic stations just yet for them, but their form, it is certainly a worry. That's 6 winless matches here at Darling Street. Gee, it's pretty tough at the moment for Pete McGuinness. He's won just 2 of his last 16 NPL matches as head coach. That is full time here at Darling Street Oval. It finishes Hamilton Olympic 2, Edgeworth Eagles 3. CT, Damien Smith, your thoughts on that one?
You know what, in the end, a victory for Edgeworth is fine, granted with me. They got on top of the game in the last probably half an hour in particular with the injection of Daniel McBreen. It's a case of, for Olympic, they've shown plenty enough here, Smudge, to know that they're going to be competitive every single game they play, and they've played against a team that's been on a roll, and they've almost got the job done, but they just didn't finish it off in that last half an hour.
I totally agree with you, CT. And I think I was talking to McGuinness before the game. They said he's been in every. They've been in every game, but they just they're either leaking an easy goal, or they're just missing their chances. But in patches today, Olympic were very good. When they transition quick with the ball, they're very good. And speaking of Neil Owens earlier today, he's just walking past us now, the old rubber. But when they transition quick, play the ball forward quick, they do really well. Use the width. Get Reece Cooper on the ball. They look very sharp. But when they start playing a bit sideways, a little bit backwards, and it's not going forward at all, that's when teams capitalise and they transition quick, and it can hurt them. But Edgeworth. Bring McBreen on. I think at the start of both halves, Edgeworth were a bit sloppy, to be honest. And that sort of got him into gear. So, and McBreen, obviously, 2 goals, was a standout when he came on. Josh Evans at the back was a standout. I know you want the mic, CT, but here it is.
I was just going to say, CT, by no means is it panic stations for Hamilton Olympic. I said they've had slow starts in the past, and they've, 8 years ago, slow start in 2010, and they finished second on the ladder. So there's no real concerns as of yet. But the fact that they have won just once in 5 matches, they've got to work out a way to turn it around. And how is that going to happen in your eyes?
Well, when Smudge is saying you want the mic, the point is the tactician that Peter McGuinness is, what he's going to do is he'll take a lot out of tonight's game, working amongst the transition from his back third to the middle of the park in particular. I think that's where the key is for them. And to do that effectively, they've been working on it, obviously part of their plan, and then how that's going to filtrate into the top end of the park. I totally agree. This is not by any stretch any panic station for Hamilton Olympic, but something that Peter McGuinness will take away. His humble nature in defeat there, I could just see in his eyes when he walked past, all right, we've got plenty here to work with, and I know that he will do that.
Yeah, totally agree. And you know what? They're playing against Edgeworth, who are, arguably the best side in the competition at the moment. But yeah, I think Pete just needs to be a little bit careful. Get the boys, get their confidence back up, because they've been in every game. But what they need to do, they just they've got their plan A, but sometimes they need to bring in a plan B. So that sometimes they might have to play the longer ball when they're under pressure, because sometimes they're still playing out from the back and they're getting caught, and that's sort of hurt them just a little bit. It hurt them against Valentine when I seen 2 weeks ago. It hurt them again today. They just need to be a bit careful. And you can hear Edgeworth singing now. They're very happy. They've come from behind twice today, and they're it's tough to beat Olympic at Olympic, and they've done very well.
And that is an Edgeworth performance, isn't it? And that is the confidence, and that is the belief that they have got, and that has been developed over the last few years. The fact that they've been behind twice tonight, they fight back and they win. These are the games that Edgeworth have won over the last 4 seasons.
Well, look, you can see how much it hurts Olympic. We've got Cooper down on the fence in front of us. He's clearly not happy. It's painful. These hurt, and you hate listening to the team song when you've lost, especially when you know you're in a side. So I think that they'll be back. They'll work on this at training. They'll get stronger, and they'll be there, and they'll keep continuing to do well.
And also, obviously McGuinness is rebuilding. He's got a whole new squad, and there's some young players in there, some inexperienced players, and it happened today. They made some probably silly turnovers, which sort of cost them a little bit. So, but they'll learn from that. McGuinness will get them back on track, and you know what? The table's very congested, and they're going to push for a top 4.
All right, Smudge. Well, that wraps it up tonight from Darling Street Oval. A real classic win for Edgeworth tonight. We mentioned 2 down twice tonight. They came back to win 3-2, and it was Daniel McBreen with a second half double, scoring his first 2 goals of the season. An important strike it was from him.
Who's playing tomorrow, Bart? Just remind me.
Tomorrow, Adamstown up against Broadmeadow Magic from Adamstown Oval. That will be the match that we are at. And CT, you'll be there with me because Smudge is heading off. Is that right?
I'm not sure how much annual leave he's got, but he's exceeded it, and he won't be there tomorrow. You and I, Bart, looking forward to it.
Should be a good one. Remember last year? Do you remember this match last year where Adamstown basically sat back and Broadmeadow just came at them?
Yeah, well, Pete McGuinness was coaching Adamstown at the time, and he had a plan A, and they stuck to plan A, and they had two banks of four, and they weren't moving, and that was a case where Magic didn't move the ball quick. They never played the ball forward quicker. And, they were frustrated, and Ruben was very frustrated after the game. But I think if Magic score nice and early tomorrow, it's going to bring Adamstown out. And, they had a great win last week against, who'd they play again?
Western.
No, they didn't.
Western. Edgeworth played Western last week.
No, I'm talking about Magic, mate.
Charlestown.
Sorry, yeah. They had a great win. They're going to be buoyed. They're going to have confidence going into this game. And they would have learned from last year. So.
All right, well, I think it's time for us to wrap it up tonight. I think we're a bit tired now. So we'll catch you tomorrow just before 2:30 for that match between Adamstown and Magic. Until then, goodbye.